So I just want to do a loose format, kind of little vlog build as I put this thing together. New shifter cart. Figured show little tips and tricks as I put the thing together, maybe a little time lapse here and there. Talk about things I like, things I do as I build a cart. Everyone kind of has their own thing as they're putting them together, little quirks and features. So this is my first CRG cart, so kind of figuring it out as I go. Figured I'd just kind of give an overview on the thing, just first glance. I did cheat a little bit and put the front end together just so the spindles aren't flopping around, hitting the frame, digging into it. Just very loosely put it together, nothing aligned. Overall, the cart's really nice. All the kit that comes with it, bearing hangers, brakes, all the main hardware is really nice. The cassettes are pretty slick. You can do not only ride height, but you can change wheelbase, forward, backwards. All the pulleys, everything's just this really nice gold anodize on it. Makes it easy to keep it all nice and clean. All the routing of the lines, everything just seems super stout and well built. Master cylinders, calipers, spindles, hubs, all the main points of contacts are really nice. Pedals, forged, seems super stiff and nice. One thing's a little piddly is the clutch lever. Just a stamped sheet metal little tube thing. It's probably not a big deal. I mean, you're only really touching it. The race start, you're really never messing with it. But then you've got things like the exhaust bracket. Like, do these really need to be forged mag, aluminum, all hoopty, when honestly they could just be a stamped or laser cut piece of sheet metal? I guess I'd rather have the money put into something you're gonna be touching all the time. Like the clutch lever, like that would be so much nicer as a forged mag part versus having some super overkill. I mean, they look nice, but I don't need exhaust brackets that nice. Shift lever, all this is pretty stout. So just did some very loose, rough assembly, kind of getting it together. So before I really go too far into putting the thing together, it's time to tackle the most tedious thing, which to me is the seat mounting. I'm just a little perfectionist on it, so it takes me a while of just messing around and getting exactly where I want. So yeah, let's get started on that. So I've got the seat pretty close to where I want it to be. Just a couple little notes here. I think the best measurement you can get is, if you can get it from your manufacturer, is off the spine of the seat to the leading edge of the axles here. I think it's just the easiest, kind of the most true method of doing it. Every seat shape you're gonna get is a little bit different. You know, it may have a different recline, different shape, but for the most part, where your butt lands is where your butt lands, and kind of your back lands. I think your center of mass, regardless of the seat, is going to be pretty similar if you can measure off of the back spine of the seat to the axle. So that gets you pretty close. And then really for the rest of it, I'm just trying to like square up the seat as best as I can on the chassis. You're always going to see that it's going to have a slight offset. The seats are normally kind of shifted left to get away from the engine side. And again, all the seat shapes are different. So like measuring from the ears, so from this like leading edge to the front edge of the chassis, kind of the front bar if you can, it seems to be okay. But again, I mean, it really depends on the trim of the seat, what the seat shape is, the ear shapes. You know, if you have one of the Jekos, they really stick out further for like the hip support. So I just try to get the front edges within about 5 to 10 mil of each other, with the left side just slightly forward, just to give myself a little more room and kind of offset my butt cheeks and get the left butt cheek a little bit further forward and offset the weight of the engine. And then mount it as flat as you can, I think, is the most critical thing. I went ahead and snuck just a sprocket underneath there. This is just going to be a practice seat. Make sure I'm happy with where the position is. The race seat, I think I'll go ahead and put all the way to the bottom, but I don't see any reason of blowing out the bottom of the seat immediately, even if it is a practice seat, and getting everything figured out before we mount the good one. But yeah, if you can just get nice and level with the frame rails, make sure it's sitting flat, get yourself a nice big flat bar. You can buy the nice expensive seat fitting jigs, but unless you're doing it all the time, honestly, like this is just a roof rack bar for the truck. It's just the longest, flattest thing I got. You could do it with a level from Harbor Freight if you really needed to, but yeah, and do a last sanity check on my measurements and drill some holes and get this thing mounted. And that's the hard part done, honestly. Front end alignment's done. A little bit of a tougher one. I'm just used to the snipers going onto the spindles, and since they're steel, and the kind of hub carrier here is aluminum, didn't want to stick, so Kind of had to lock the brakes down to keep everything from spinning and hold in place. I think probably get some O-rings that will snap over the snipers and hold them onto the spindles, make it a little bit easier. One thing to note, like if you're doing the front end and you've got a whole bunch of threads shown on one side and none on the other, as was the case when I first started putting this together, the shafts were different lengths, so the steering column support isn't exactly centered in this cart, so it's got a longer shaft on one side versus the other. You never really want a whole bunch of threads showing. Just makes the whole system weaker, more likely to bend a rod end if you get in a collision or hit something. So that wasn't too bad. First time messing with a sniper system. Yeah, I like the convenience of the eccentrics, just the regular caster camber pills, but it is nice that you can do caster independent of camber and vice versa with these. So time will tell messing around with them. It was a little tough getting them kind of exactly where I wanted. It's like the adjustment is so fine and it allows me to kind of be perfectionist. I was trying to get exactly where I wanted it to, left to right on the lasers, having it exactly a box out. So yeah, time will tell how we like those. So steering wheel's on there temporary. So next we should be ready for this guy. Go ahead and start mounting up the radiator, getting that mocked up. Water pump, get that in place, and then mounting that beast here in just a minute, and yeah, just keep moving forward. Radiator is in, mocked up. All this kit came out really nice, really happy with it. I got one of the double pass rads, so it actually runs up, over, down. Should provide a little bit better cooling than just your standard single pass. Kind of makes routing the lines a little more difficult, but I'll take it. Out here in the desert, need as much cooling as we can get. Water pump all mocked up. You get all that sorted, get the adjustment done. Engine's all mocked up. Looking pretty good. I don't really like how close the muffler silencer ends up near the brake rotor, so I may have to mess around with that, see if I can still get it shifted over just a scooch more, but got pretty nice seat struts in place. I think I should be able to squeeze in another one of these adjustable style ones in there. There should be enough room in it. For the most part, these real stiff adjustable ones to me are almost worth the stiffness of two of the regular ones, so I'm gonna start with just with the one, and I'll add another one if I need to. One little tip that I didn't mention, I'm talking the front end. If you put all the left-handed threads, so in this case, normally the jam nut's got a little machine groove in it, let you know it's the left-hand thread. So if you put all the left-hand threads on the left side, pointing left, it makes all your adjustments so much easier. You're always doing the same thing. So to tighten, wrench goes forward, to crack the nuts off to come loose, backwards, and same thing. So forward would be doing your toe out, backwards toe in, and it doesn't matter which side you're on, so you don't have to guess every time you go to do a front end adjustment. Forward on the nuts always tightens them, backwards on the nuts always breaks them loose. So I always put the left-hand threads on the left-hand side. So yeah, next, probably mock up the air box, make sure there's nothing in the way, run like throttle cable, some miscellaneous. Made some decent progress yesterday until the garage too hot and had to tap out and get out of here. So we've got water lines run, chain on, rear sprocket on, all sized up, happy with that. Water lines are honestly the hardest part, finding the routing, how I wanted to run them all. I don't know if I'm super happy with the one from the pump to the engine. It's pretty narrow down in there. Pretty close to the belt. I think New Line makes one that's pre-formed. May try that out. You can kind of ignore the red tape here. I just super glued on some old fuel line. Get that tucked up in there. Keep it up away from the exhaust without the seat chewing into the edge. It's worked for me quite well on other projects, just lining the edge of the seat, just so it's not eating into things. That way I can just zip tie it directly to the seat. Should turn out pretty nice. Drilled and tapped the little boss there. That way it accepts the water temp sensor. It's just like a small M5 for bleeding the water out of the system. A whole whole bunch of 3D printing going on. Printed a different steering wedge. One I had wasn't going to fit, so tweaked that. Printed a little bushing that goes into the steering boss. That way when you tighten down the steering shaft, you're not crushing the shaft, and it's all just seems a little bit nicer. That way this always goes on nice and neat. Seems like if you really tighten the bolts and scrunch that down, you end up ovaling the shaft, and then getting all that apart sucks. So that's why it looks like we went a little bit backwards pulling the wheel. Fuel lines roughed in. Got them roughly where I want to go. I haven't finished pushing them on all the fittings until I get the, I want to get the shift lever run through there, make sure I'm not crashing anything down in here. We're not pinching lines. Throttle cable run, make sure we're just not hitting anything. Messed around 3D printing a bracket for the airbox. I don't know if that's going to survive. We'll see. I need to tweak it just a little bit, get a little bit better fitment. And then our seat mounts are in there, all 3D printed. So yeah, 3D printer's been ripping. It's printing me a couple more parts as we speak. So really it's just the fine tidying up and waiting on some hose clamps to show up so I can finish locking all that down. And yeah, good progress. We're really close now. Now it's just the last 20% tweaking, zip tying everything down. Every go-kart's held together with about 100 zip ties, so it's getting super close. Okay, I know this is a bit of a jump, but I was getting quite pressed for time. We had the track rented last night, so kind of had to hustle to finish putting the thing together and didn't really have a chance to stop and record, so I figured I'd wrap this up going over a couple things. Just trying out some little 3D printed parts, kind of holding the fuel line in place. Little airbox 3D printed piece held up quite well. I was afraid it was going to break with the whole airbox shaking, but it seemed to survive. Kart drove really nice. Track was just filthy mess. We just got a bunch of rain here, so everything's just, if you can't tell, dusty, nasty. Part of living in the desert. Every time I go out, the thing just ends up filthy. But yeah, drove really well. Got a couple of tweaks I want to make. Clutch lever, a little bit more throw than I wanted, so probably do some tweaking there. Steering wheel's a bit low and too close, so I'll probably go up on the steering shaft, try to get it away from me. Got this nice little clutch cable that I end up installing from Fast Tech. It's kind of nice, it's adjustable, so you don't have to be messing around up here trying to adjust the amount of throw. You can do it there. Couple little things I did. I swapped out the side pods. I went ahead and bolted them. I tried using the springs, but first time I went to go install them, springs snapped, nailed me right in the thumb. Busted nail. So and I said, screw that. I don't want to deal with that. And just bolted seems nicer. And I ended up, if I put the springs on, it was right up against the rad and there wasn't a lot of room. So drilling the holes and bolting it just seemed to work out a little bit better. That way I had a little bit of clearance here to the radiator without it hitting. Yeah, radiator, everything worked quite well. Temperatures are good. Didn't have any tape on it. It was still running good temperatures. So I think if it gets much hotter, I'll probably have to stand it up a little bit. Playing around a lot with the brake bias, trying to get it where I'm happy with it. Still locking the rears a little bit, so I'll probably go a little bit further forward and like a little bit more force. They were too easy to actuate for me, so I'll either make an adjustment here on the pedal, trying to make them a little bit stiffer. I really like to slam the brakes, or I'll do like I do on most other karts and go down a hole here. That should really require more force to hit the brakes. But other than that, sticker kit went on really well. Looks good. A couple small little air bubbles here and there. I was kind of hustling to get it done. Engine ran really well. I'm going to pull the top end off, just give it a good sanity check. I ran the thing super rich, but it still seemed to run quite well. So I think when I get this thing on race tune, it's going to be a real ripper. But yeah, anyways, kind of little vlog style video here for everybody, and just kind of come along building the kart, little tips, tricks, what I liked, what I don't liked, and yeah. We should be racing here in a couple weeks. Just got to pound some laps and get used to driving the thing, and hopefully we'll put the thing on the front row here. Anyways, much appreciated. Thanks for watching.